They drained my pond without asking, so I drained their project with the state water board. My property sat on 3 wooded acres outside Asheville, where a natural spring-fed pond had been the centerpiece since my grandfather dug it in 1972. He'd lined it with river stone by hand, stocked it with bluegill, and built a small dock that I rebuilt when I inherited the place. The pond doubled as irrigation for my vegetable beds and a refuge for herons, frogs, and the occasional deer. I kept it maintained, dredged every 5 years, and registered with the county as a non-commercial retention feature. It was peaceful, private, and mine long before anyone around me decided to build luxury cabins. The trouble started when a developer named Mark bought the adjacent parcel to build 3 eco-lodges. He arrived in a glossy pickup, all smiles and confidence, wearing mirrored sunglasses even in shade. "We'll raise property values," he said during our first chat by the fence line. When I mentioned the pond's protected spring source, he nodded distractedly, already glancing at the slope like he was measuring it. 2 weeks later, I came home from visiting my sister to find my pond half empty, the waterline sunk 3 feet below normal. The air smelled of churned clay. A yellow backhoe sat idling beyond my boundary, its bucket still dripping mud. A raw trench cut across his side and bled directly into my spring channel. He stood nearby on his phone. When he saw me, he waved casually and said, "Had to open a runoff path. It's all for storm management. No harm done." I told him that he'd diverted my spring. He shrugged. "It's just water. The environmental consultant said it's fine. You'll get refill from rain." The arrogance in his tone was practiced, like he'd said the same thing to people before and gotten away with it. I didn't argue. I took photos, the trench, the exposed pipe, the engine hours on the equipment. I called the county hydrologist who'd inspected the pond years ago. When he arrived and saw the damage, he whistled low. "That's an illegal alteration of a registered source," he said, writing notes. "He'll have a problem with the state board." Days later, Mark's lawyer emailed me a cooperative drainage easement proposal, offering me $200 and a landscaping credit. I forwarded it to the state water board investigator. Within 3 weeks, he received a formal notice of violation citing unauthorized diversion and wetland impact. At the hearing, the board chair's verdict was brief: restore the spring channel, refill the pond, and pay assessed penalties by month's end. On Restoration Day, I stood by while a licensed contractor filled the illegal trench with compacted clay under the inspector's supervision. Pumps hummed as clean water refilled the pond to its old depth. The herons returned within days. Mark tried to appeal, claiming I'd interfered with development. The board dismissed it in under 5 minutes. Now, every evening when the sun catches the pond's surface, it mirrors the sky, undisturbed, permanent, and entirely mine again.